Title: My first night shift was my last. I had just started working as an overnight security guard at a massive logistics warehouse near Orlando, Florida. The building was old, metallic, and surrounded by dense pine woods. Behind the back fence, there were no houses, no lights, just black forest. The warehouse was technically closed on holidays, but one guard had to be present. That unlucky person was me. It started subtle. On my first patrol, I passed the row of loading bays and noticed a faint shimmer on the edge of the woods, like someone walking, but without movement. No footsteps, no branches breaking, just a smooth shift in shape between the trees. I blinked. Gone. I told myself it was a trick of light. Maybe fog. Maybe nerves. But something stuck with me, like the way animals go silent before a storm. The building had power, motion sensors, and dozens of security cameras, but none of that comforted me that night. As I returned to the control room, the hallway lights began to dim, not all at once, but in sequence, like someone was walking under them. But I was the only one on duty. I checked the cameras, nothing. I checked the logs, no doors opened, no motion alerts. I tried brushing it off. Focus on the task. Run inventory reports, monitor the yards, stay awake, then the radio in the storage. Office crackled. It was supposed to be silent and less triggered. What I heard wasn't static. It sounded like breathing, slow, wet, deliberate. Then came whispers, too garbled to understand, like a voice from underwater. I shut the radio off. The silence that followed was worse than the noise. I took a flashlight and walked to the far end of the warehouse. I needed to be sure nothing physical had triggered that. That's when I saw the reflection. In one of the observation mirrors near the far wall, I saw myself and something behind me. A tall, distorted figure. But when I turned, nothing. I checked the mirror again. The reflection was normal. Just me. Alone. At the loading dock doors, I noticed one of the outer padlocks looked bent. Not broken, just slightly off, as if it had been twisted. It wasn't like that when I began my shift. I knew that. I radioed my supervisor. No answer. I tried again. Still nothing. As I returned through the inner hallway, I passed the break room. Its door was ajar. The lights flickered. And then I heard it, my name. Whispered, slowly, drawn out like an exhale. Daniel. I froze. I hadn't told anyone I was working that night. There was no one else scheduled. I turned and stepped into the break room. Empty. Microwave blinking 88:88. Fluorescent light buzzing like a swarm of bees. I checked the storage fridge. Nothing. But on the whiteboard someone had written a phrase I'd never seen before: "Don't look out the west window." I didn't even know we had a west-facing window. I pulled up the building map. Sure enough, only one, in the server room. I knew I shouldn't. But I had to check. The server room was colder than the rest of the building. Not cool, cold. My breath fogged. The fans were off. The machines were dead silent. That wasn't normal. I approached the west wall, where the narrow, reinforced glass window sat above a long steel cabinet. I climbed up and looked out. Beyond the fence line, right where the woods began, was a figure. 7 feet tall at least. Jet black silhouette. No face, no features. It didn't move. It just stood there watching, then it lifted its hand. It didn't wave. It pointed directly at me. I fell back from the cabinet. My head slammed against the server rack. Lights popped behind my eyes. When I looked again, the figure was gone. I don't remember how I got back to the security office. My notes are scrambled. I found pages torn out of my logbook. My watch was frozen at the same minute I saw the figure and the cameras. They were all looping. Every feed was playing back the same 60 seconds, over and over. A loop of silence. A loop of stillness until one feed blinked just for a moment, and in that brief flicker, I saw it again, inside the building, standing in the hallway near the break room. Facing the camera. Unmoving. Watching, then static. That was enough. I grabbed my bag, logged an emergency maintenance code into the terminal, and left. I didn't clock out. I didn't leave a note. I didn't even lock the front gate. I drove fast. I didn't look back. When I called in the next day, my supervisor said the cameras were all functional. No errors. No malfunctions. The logbook had no strange entries. The note on the break room board cleaned off. No record. They asked if I was okay. I lied. After that night, I didn't go back to the warehouse. I didn't even drive near it, but something followed me. I started hearing noises at home, at first just the house settling. Then soft knocks. Always at 3 or 4 a.m. Sometimes on the front door. Sometimes on the bedroom wall. When I opened the door or looked outside, there was nothing there. But every time I felt it, that pressure. Like being watched from inside your own skin. I tried to dismiss it. Sleep deprivation. Trauma. Stress. But one night, I woke up drenched in sweat, my window wide open, the screen torn from the outside. On the wall across from my bed, in black marker, someone had written, "You looked." I moved apartments that week, but moving didn't help. I started researching the area around the warehouse. Local forums, Reddit, even digging into archived news articles. The deeper I looked, the worse it got. In 2003, a man named Carter Bell disappeared on his first night as a janitor for that same company. The only thing they found was his uniform, soaked, torn, folded neatly by the warehouse fence. In 1998, a fire broke out in that forest behind the building. Firefighters found a burnt-out shack with walls covered in handprints and crude drawings of long, faceless figures. No bodies. No suspects. In 1985, the land was owned by a private military contractor. That company was shut down after internal reports of a psychological collapse among overnight staff. Some said they had seen the Mirror Walker, a term that came up again in a locked thread on a conspiracy site, the Mirror Walker. That's what it's called. Or at least, that's what people used to call it. It's not a ghost. Not a demon. Something else. A presence that feeds on perception. Once you see it, really see it, it doesn't just vanish. It lingers. It waits. I tried reaching out to one of the old night guards listed in a forum post. A guy named Mikhail Torres. His post was 10 years old, but I was desperate. I found his sister. She told me Mikhail hadn't been the same after working at that warehouse. He'd started boarding up mirrors in his house, taping over reflective surfaces. Eventually, he was found dead in his bathtub, no sign of trauma. But his eyes were wide open. Every mirror in his apartment had been shattered. His last journal entry said only, "It comes through glass now." That same night, I heard breathing again. But not from outside. From my bathroom mirror. It wasn't foggy. No steam. But there was a handprint on the inside of the glass. Small. 5 fingers. Pressed firm against the surface and the reflection. It was delayed. I moved my head and my reflection followed half a second later. That's when I knew I couldn't hide. I went to a priest. Then a psychologist. Then a paranormal investigator. I even stayed 3 nights in a monastery. Nothing helped. Each time I caught even a glimpse of my reflection, I saw a flicker behind me. A shape. Sometimes still. Sometimes crawling on the walls. Always waiting. I haven't looked in a mirror in months. I cover my screens. My phone camera is taped. But I can still feel it. Watching me through other people's eyes. Through puddles. Through glass shop doors. Through dreams. The worst part, I saw someone else get it 2.2 weeks ago. I was at a coffee shop. A guy dropped his spoon and bent over to pick it up. As he sat up, he caught his reflection in the window and froze. I knew that look. That stillness. That dread. He turned around slowly, eyes darting over the room like an animal that senses a trap. Then he locked eyes with me. He mouthed something, "You saw it too." I left immediately. I'm writing this now from a place where there are no windows. No reflections. I've destroyed every photo of myself. I sleep in the dark, fully clothed. Under heavy blankets. Not because I'm cold, because the thing prefers bare skin. That's when it touches. Sometimes I feel it brushing my foot, sometimes it whispers my name, sometimes I see myself standing at the foot of my bed. But it's not me. It's what I would look like if I were empty inside, and now I understand the final message Mikhail ever left, scratched into a wooden panel above his bed. If you see it once, it's already inside you. The warehouse is still operating. They still hire night guards. They still ignore the reports. No one talks about the disappearances, but if you're reading this, if you ever get a job offer for night security in Central Florida, and the building has only one west-facing window, say no before it's too late.